This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Europe with an international speaker and award-winning author. She is a manifestation coach, teaching identity-based transformation and nervous system recalibration for high-achieving women. Welcome, the founder of Rozana Manifest. Rozana, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for having me.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You often speak about mastering yourself as the key to mastering life. What was the turning point for you that made you fully embrace that philosophy?
So I noticed that I have had continuous patterns show up throughout different parts of my life, throughout different timelines. And when I really sat down with it and really looked at my patterns, I noticed it was like meeting the same people just in different bodies, the same situation, no matter what country I go to. And I had to really look at who's the common denominator in all of this, and it's me. And really sitting with this concept of if it's me that continues to experience that, what does that mean? And eventually I found, the secret, the law of attraction, these concepts about how your reality reflects who you are being from within. First, the understanding of it felt a bit abstract because it was just talking about visualization and affirmations and how when you affirm and visualize, you receive what you want. And throughout my own journey, as I was really started to look at like, this is what I desire to create, and this is what is required of me to create it, it made me realize that the journey is a lot more than just visualizing it. It's about changing the internal being, the internal self concept, how you relate to the external circumstances. And according to that, when we shift how we perceive ourselves in relation to that specific desire, in relation to that specific circumstance, we change on an internal levels. And so our habits, behaviors, ideas, and expectations shift as well to align with the version of us who has what they want, who is living, breathing, an embodiment of that. And so the more I dug within and did the deep inner work, the more I realized that every single time I experience an internal shift within, it starts to reflect within my reality as well. It starts to reflect as I'm being consistent with that new identity. And so I realized like the key to literally mastering things, it's me. It's not trying to just change the circumstance because circumstances happen, life happens.
Right.
It's that the common denominator in it all is me and who I choose to stay embodied in and become. So,
I mean, I honestly, they've always said if you want to make a change, look in the mirror, right? Because it's not just the circumstances we have to change. I mean, you mentioned that your self image and past experiences once held you back. I mean, you've rebuilt your self concept and you now help others. Is your passion beyond yourself and really now to help elevate others?
so my passion is definitely the self is the thing that I'm most excited about. I love hearing about people wanting to transform their money mindset, their business, their relationships. I love that. But really, like, it's about who's the woman behind that. That is like that's the meat and jam. That's the real thing. Because you can change the mirror, but if the person standing in front of it is the same, eventually the mirror will reflect that. I don't go and put on a red shirt on a mirror. If I want to see myself wearing a red shirt and living in that, then I have to put it on and then stand in front of the mirror and it reflects that. So my passion is allowing people to create that change because that change is not just about us. It's not just about you. It's about when you make that internal change, you as a person, you become a better friend, you become a better partner, you become a better parent, and then you take on these teachings to the next generations. If we were all coming from a place of deep self-compassionate self-love, where we own who we are, where we are embodied in the version of us that we want, we would be living in a much loving world and a much safer world where children grow up so much happier, so much loved by their family. There would be way less trauma. And so that's why we are the common denominator in making that internal shift and also being the person who's able to hold that level of wealth, identity, love, joy is what allows us to continue to experience that and create that as well for the world. And so my passion is not just about it's yes, the self, it's the self and how that shifts everything around you and how that creates a ripple effect.
I mean, it's much more than ourselves. Like you say, this is affecting our intimate relationships, our regular relationships, you name it, being a parent. You describe your work as helping women come back home within. What does that phrase mean to you?
Remembering who you are before the world told you, who you are before you were shaped by trauma, before you were shaped by society. And when we continue to strip back the layers, we go back to who we actually used to be, which is you being truly unconditional love, you being truly rooted in your worthiness, where it's no longer dependent on your grades, no longer dependent on your whether you're single or taken. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with you coming back to remembering who you were, and when you can come back to who you were, that is when you become more solid in who you are. And from there, you can build on the identity that holds that level of wealth, love, career, whatever it is that you desire.
Speaking of building on, you describe your work really, I mean, your coaching emphasizes self concept and quantum embodiment. Do those two ideas work together in your method?
Absolutely. So self-concept simply means what is your concept of self in relation to what you want? When you look at your relationships, do you identify as the person who's always left out, who's always left behind, the person who can have the love of her life, the person who can who's always like on awkward situations? Because when we identify as that person, we are already like in the self-concept of like I'm not good enough, I'm small in that relationship field, right? And so we continue to show up as that, and we experience relationships that continue to remind us that this is what we're holding within. Not that it's your fault what you experience. It's just a mirror. The same thing goes with career. The same thing goes with money. So that's the self concept. And when we talk about quantum embodiment, the quantum field, where all infinite possibilities exist, in order to step into the reality we want, and all infinite possibilities exist according to quantum physics and parallel universes, you have to become a walking, talking embodiment, which means you think like her, move like her, start your day like her, breathe like her, act like her, show up as her habits, her ideas, her expectations, leading as her. And that is what I mean by leading from the quantum with the intuition of your next level self.
Interesting. Both those working in tandem. I mean, you offer coaching, self study courses, meditations, even community support. Which format do you think creates the deepest breakthroughs for your clients and why?
Definitely one-on-one coaching because we do a very deep dive into what is really going on into their world. We look into their history. We look into the patterns of like what happened then has to do with what's happening right now, so that we can draw the correlation and the relationship. From there, we can break the pattern and really witnessing women go from point A to point B to become that transformation, watching them grow and alchemize all of the experiences that their body has been holding onto and shifting their mindset. That is the most beautiful thing to witness, and it's the most potent and vulnerable work. And allowing myself to also witness that, they become an inspiration to me. So courses are amazing. I love community based. I love connecting with people, but also that intimate one-on-one where I get to know the person from the inside out is the most exciting thing for me.
So, really, it's that deep dive in that one on one coaching where you can peel back those layers of who the world is telling you to be or who you even thought you were into finding out who you are. Speaking of breakthroughs, many people consume endless manifestation content online, but still they feel stuck. Why do you think information alone often fails to create transformation?
Affirmations are great. I personally use them every single day. And if we think about it, it's like all of our thoughts are affirmations. However, when we're just affirming, but within us, our body's like, "Ugh, I'm closed off of this, I'm blocking this because our body is living in the past and what has happened then. And there's also a lot of attachment to the past, which is why when people do inner work, they find themselves constantly relooping what has happened and feeling at the mercy of their experiences. They become addicted to that healing loop. And at the same time, their body is not on board with their brain. Their brain knows that right now I'm in 2026. This is where I am right now, but the body is in the 7-year-old self, 12-year-old self. And even our reactions are, we're moving with the reactions as the 7-year-old self, 8-year-old self, however, whenever that experience shaped you. And so affirmations are great when they target the real issue that's happening within, but aligning the mind and the body is where the real embodiment happens, is when you can actually become the woman who has that experience. So to me, it's about nervous system regulation.
Yep. I mean, so you're talking affirmations are great as long as it's going towards that root problem. Otherwise, your body's going to fight back. Your experiences are going to fight back against that affirmation. Sometimes transformation goes beyond the exterior. I mean, your clients frequently talk about gaining confidence, inner peace, emotional security, rather than just these external manifestations. Has your definition of success kind of evolved over time, would you say?
Because you're the person that you're taking with you to every relationship, to every career, to every country. So you can have all of these amazing external factors, but A, are you going to be able to hold it, or are you going to be sabotage it if you don't feel rooted in who you are, if you don't feel grounded in your enoughness story? Two, are you going to feel safe to continue to be in that experience? Because when we don't feel safe being in that experience, the reality continues to reflect that somehow. Suddenly the job falls apart. Suddenly things were good, but all of a sudden the other shoe dropped. So back to what I was saying about, yes, the nervous system regulation is a huge piece so that we can create what we want and be able to be present with what we have, be able to enjoy it. Otherwise, every compliment, we bounce it off. Every success, we're like, but I could have done this better. We don't allow ourselves to be in it. And it's like, what was the point then all along doing all this work if you're going to be there and then you're going to, you know, pretend like it didn't happen and not be able to celebrate it and be in it?
Interesting. When you focus on manifesting inner peace, do you believe peace should come before manifestation, or does manifestation kind of help create peace?
I believe the manifestation adds to the piece. It's like an accessory, but the person behind it, it has to happen before. It has to happen before the manifestation. Otherwise, we create a codependent relationship with the external factors. And so we continue to stay in the waiting and in lack energy, looking for the next success, the next thing to come through. And that's why we never feel settled in the now moment. And it's like, what do I do next? But still this thing that happened. It's been taking XYZ amount of time. So it's before.
Wow, that sounds like me. That sounds like me. You're moving on to the next thing before you've even enjoyed what I've presently done. That makes so much sense. Several testimonials mention that your coaching combines neuroscience, emotional regulation, embodiment, and mindset work. Was it important for you to build a more multi-dimensional approach with your work?
Absolutely. I believe there is no one size fits all. There is no approach that applies to everybody in the world. It's about finding your own process. And that's what I love about one-on-one coaching. Finding your own process that works for your own lifestyle, for your own desires, for your own future self. And so being able to combine all these different practices allows you to create the change that is required for you, that is fully customized and personalized to your own version of success.
Interesting. One of the dimensions um, is your quantum embodiment method, which is scientifically backed. It has provided hundreds of success stories. Can you touch on that a little bit before we go?
Sure. So this is a 5-step process that I take my clients through in order to become the version that they're looking to become, which is starting with clarity, getting clear on what they want and why they're not there yet. Two, we take the why not there yet to the second step, which is to release these old wounds and stories. And that allows us to be open to step three, which is connecting and merging to the highest version of yourself so that you are manifesting as your new self, not as your past self, not with the old stories. And then step four, that's where we align the mind and the body. Step five is the self love piece, embodying self love. That's where we tie all the previous step into the self-love, into practicing really being the person who loves themselves through the ups and downs before, during, and after success, so you can actually maintain the desire and the manifestation. Because we're so focused on creating and getting, but then it's about the maintenance, the long-term transformation, the long-term changes.
Interesting. I mean, you wrote a book, Quantum Queen, Master Identity Shifting and Exit Healing Loops. Will you touch on nervous system recalibration? And will readers be able to use this in every relationship?
Absolutely. So when it comes to my Quantum Queen book, that is the archetype that I lead my clients through after we step into the embody the 5-step process. When we do that, we become the woman who can have anything that she wants, who's open to infinite possibilities. And so the quantum queen is the woman who does not operate from logic based on external factors. She operates from the quantum. And so with each end of chapter, after I touch on every concept, there is an end of chapter activity that allows you to be able to embody these practices, to be able to embody the knowledge. So it's not just up here intellectually understood, we can pull it down into the body. And nervous system recalibration is about practicing the safety within your system, practicing bringing in the safe to be held, safe to be loved, safe to receive, because as much as we say we want things, we have a negative association to receiving them. That success means people are going to dislike me, be jealous of me, judge me, that having relationships means they're going to end up falling apart and I'll be heartbroken again. So it's removing these negative connotations, experiences from the body and be open, allow our body to expand rather than contract when we practice success-based mindset.
Fascinating. Great for relationships, obviously. Rozana, your clients repeatedly describe feeling truly seen and heard by you. You clearly separate coaching from mental health treatment. So, looking at your own journey, what do you hope is the single biggest shift that you can help others make to completely change their life?
Single shift. Hmm. Is to be unapologetically bold and loud about what you actually want and stop apologizing for it. That's when you can be open to receiving it. Because you can say you want it all you want, but throughout your way to success, you could shame yourself, shame yourself, shame yourself, and then you contract, contract, contract. And by the time you got there, by the time you get there, you're the person who actually cannot hold it. By the time you get there, you have hated your way to success. You have become the person who's judging yourself. And now, again, we're not able to be present with the experience. So it's about opening your heart, opening yourself up to the receiving mode. And that happens when you own your desires, when you fully, boldly, shamelessly say out loud what you actually want and go after it, no matter the external reality. Building that resilience, that mental and emotional resilience through the mindset work and nervous system regulation is how you're going to be able to become the one who shamelessly sells online, who is in her dream relationship, who has the success that she wants, speaks on stages, writes her own. That's when you are able to become that woman. You are just like, yeah, this is it. This is me. I am the one. Try me.
That answer requires you to pause for a moment, and you gave us a great answer because that really embodies what you're doing and sharing with others. So, Queens out there, quit apologizing. And let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. And what you're going to see is her website. On the website, you can learn more about how self concept really is the foundation of a successful individual or a business. You can find her book right there on Amazon as well. I mean, remember, your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. So once again, that is Rozana Manifest. The key to mastering your life is mastering yourself. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.